The liberation of eastern Aleppo has also made it possible to film what years of militant rule and heavy fighting have done to that part of the city. However, despite the destruction, residents are returning to the liberated areas. For the first time in years, they can go home without risking their lives. RT's Lizzie Phelan reports from the ground.
This is the first time I've been able to come to Aleppo's famous old city without wearing full protective gear or hearing the sounds of fighting and missiles landing nearby. It's also the first time in more than 4 years that members of the public have been able to stroll around this area, because up until just over a week ago, this UNESCO World Heritage Site was divided between pro and anti-government forces. But before the war, this was a famous tourist attraction, bustling with people who would come to see the sights here, not least one of the world's most famous citadels. Now people are returning here again to see what's left of these sites, and those who had shops and homes here are coming to check what's left of them. Wading through the rubble of this former battlefield, Aleppo's residents stop to take selfies amongst the new ruins and the old ones. Some, like Muna, remained in the old city, but rarely dared to venture out. She lit up when we asked her what it's like to see all these people walking around now.
Yesterday, I was so excited and happy because at last I could go along the road to the castle. I brought some bread for my daughters and came back home safely. We are struggling now with water, and there is no electricity. I'm transporting some water in this cart. What can we do?
Her bittersweet feeling is shared by Marwan, who fled to the other side of the front line when the rebels arrived in 2012.
We always kept this view in our mind. We just couldn't forget it, how beautiful Aleppo is. This view used to be in front of us every single day. I own this shop. I had some staff. We sold hookahs, coffee, tea, fresh juice, and some snacks. We lived in this store. It's a piece of our lives. What I'm seeing now is very painful. God willing, we will get back everything that we had.
Walking through the old city, and we noticed how beautiful this door is. It has this little knocker. We didn't expect anybody to be in, but we knocked the door and this lady was in her house. And she's just come back. She hasn't been living here for the last 4 or 5 years.
I was born here in the 60s. I came here just to relieve some memories.
Amar is another who stayed put, even as the walls of his home were taken out by the fighting around him.
It was terrible. We're glad to be alive. They stole all the aid supplies. I'm a market trader in the old city. I started repairing bicycles for the rebels to make a living, but they didn't pay me. The Syrian army rescued the people.
His neighbor has to walk over part of his roof, which was brought down by mortars, to get to the entrance of his home.
I didn't move anywhere because the rebels wanted to either use the houses as bases or just raid them. If anybody dared to leave their home to see what the rebels were doing, they would be killed. We had to pay for food supplies that were supposed to be handed out to us. Beans, rice, sugar, lentils, everything.
But his relative argues it was worse in rebel-held Fardous.
In the Fardous district, they slaughtered donkeys and would sell 1 kilo of the meat to us for $30. The bread I ate was from flour, glue and salt. My face got swollen. My friend asked me what was wrong with me. I explained to him that I'd eaten 3 pieces of that bread. At first I felt fine, but after a while my stomach shrank and I didn't know what was happening to me. I thought I was going to die.
At the foot of the citadel, a wreath commemorates the fallen of the battle for the old city. Side by side with the pain of the last few years is the city's yearning to honor its dead with life.
God bless the martyrs and give their families strength to heal. We will go back to work. We won't sit still. The people of Aleppo are alive.